Hello there, I'm Cotton, and this is a new series of D&D Storytime. I am a DM, or Game Master, for my D&D party. For those of you who don't know what D&D is a fantasy roleplay game where players, my party, roleplay as a character they have created. The character has a specific race and class that they can choose in order to traverse the world I introduce them to. I am the DM, Game Master, Dungeon Master, whatever you want to call it, and I am essentially God. I control all non-playable characters in the campaign and the whole world. I create the story, and the players are the people who explore it. I give the players main quests, side quests, quests pertaining to their backstory, and introduce NPCs they can talk to and have a relationship with. Speaking about relationships, let's get into our video. One of my players in the campaign chose to be a Dragonborn, half dragon, half humanoid, barbarian class, and his character's name was Torin. Now, he roleplayed Torin to be a Dragonborn who woke up in a ditch next to the starting town of Bixman. When Torin woke up, he cannot remember anything, and his memory was wiped. He joined a traveling circus caravan to try to make money, but he was kept as a slave instead. When he was introduced to the rest of the party, he was doing a boxing match in the town of Bixman, where the party took him as their own. They went on to do great adventures, but they did not know this one detail about Torin. He was a subtle homosexual. The party did not know of this and put no mind to it. Torin would hit on men in the towns that he went to and try to hook up with them. He was successful with one though, a giant 9-foot-tall meat market owner, Goliath, in the town of Bixman. Now what's funny is the Goliath was supposed to be big and scary. But oh no, he wasn't. I made the Goliath to have a high-pitched voice like this. Hello, welcome to my meat shop. Torin went into the shop one day to investigate murder suspects, and he asked the Goliath if he knew anyone who would do such a thing. The Goliath did not know anyone who would, so Torin turned to walk out. As he was leaving, the Goliath smiled and gave Torin a wink. It was going down. The next day, Torin went into the meat market and subtly started giving hints. The Goliath gave into the hints and showed Torin back to his personal quarters. I asked my friend if he wanted to do this. He looked at me. Let's do it. So I said, roll performance to see how good they are in bed. The Goliath rolled an 8, which is relatively bad. And Torin, natural 20, critical success. So Torin was amazing, while the Goliath, average. Pause. So during my D&D sessions, I like to play Skyrim or other ambient music to set the fantasy mood. This is important for the next part. Unpause. But as Torin, the Dragonborn was getting on, this song started playing. I tell you, the Dragonborn comes. I don't believe we've ever laughed so hard. After they were done, Torin headed back to the party. When he arrived, the rogue player in the party asked to roll perception on Torin to smell him. Natural 20. I told the rogue player that he smelled a strong smell of semen on the Torin's body. The rogue kept the information to himself and moved on. Fast forward about a month later in adventuring, the party arrives back in Bixman, where the meat market man was, the Goliath. And Torin decides he wants to go see his little friend again. He arrives at the meat market and immediately, they get on. After they are done, they lay together and Torin starts up a conversation with the Goliath. This conversation was regarding Torin's newfound religion, about the dragon god of Tiamat. He tries to persuade the Goliath into believing his religion, but fails miserably. The Goliath tells Torin he should leave, but Torin says, No. Let's go down to your meat freezer downstairs, and gives him a wink. Let's go back to the party for a second. They're wondering where Torin is. The rogue finally steps up and says Torin's little secret. Surprised at most, they head towards the meat market to find Torin. Now, back to the meat market. Torin and the Goliath go down to the freezer, and Torin proceeds to cut off his head and murder him right as the party walks in the front door. Torin locks himself in the freezer, and the party hears a little noise downstairs. The party goes down there, where they hear the noise and start to confront Torin. After they realize what they did, they call the guards and slowly but surely get torn out. They explained to Torn that sex is bad, and it almost got everyone in trouble. So they brand Torn's butt with the religious symbol of Pelor, another party member's god, and made him vow to never have sex again. Or they cut off his penis, whatever. And that is how messed up my D&D party is. I have many more stories, and I'll be sure to talk about them later. But this one was so good, it had to go first. Thank you for listening, and see you next time.
David Letterman, I said him in, I'm better, man. She run me off just like the sediment. I love my candy, tryna be a little sweeter, man. I'm after money, need my money, I'm a greedy man. Money on my grave, I run it up until I die. Got some eyes in every spot, I'm flashing like a fly. I never heard a flare, I'm never cause a homicide. If you're playing with me, I'ma use some pesticide, babe. Phone closed, phone show, need a phone hoe. Phone money, phone.